The game of volleyball, originally called mintonette, was invented in 1895 by William G. Morgan after the invention of basketball only 4 years before. Morgan, a graduate of the Springfield College of YMCA, designed the game to be a combination of basketball, baseball, tennis, and handball. The first volleyball net borrowed from tennis was only 6'6" high, though you need to remember that the average American was shorter in the 19th century. The offensive style of setting and spiking was first demonstrated in the Philippines in 1916. Over the years that followed, it became clear that standard rules were needed for tournament play, and thus the USVBA, United States Volleyball Association, was formed in 1928. 2 years later, the first two-man beach volleyball game was played, though the professional side of the sport did not emerge until later. Not surprisingly, the first Beach Volleyball Association appeared in California in 1965, and the professional players united under the AVP, American Volleyball Professionals, in 1983. In 1900, a special ball was designed for the sport. In 1916, the Philippines, an offensive style of passing the ball in a high trajectory to be struck by another player, the set and spike, were introduced. In 1917, the game was changed from 21 to 15 points. Volleyball was 115 years old in 2010. Volleyball began in the United States, and in 1922, the first YMCA National Championships were held in Brooklyn, New York. 27 teams from 11 states were represented. Gravity equals 10 meters per second. When a volleyball is hit, the hitter exerts an upward and downward force on the volleyball. This downward force is what causes the ball to fall down on the opponent's side. To assist gravity, you can snap your wrist, which adds topspin that skids the ball as you hit. Work is when a force moves on an object. In volleyball, the force is the player and the object is the ball. When the player hits the ball, it moves in the direction in which the force has been applied. Velocity is the speed of movement. The velocity of a volleyball can be found by dividing the distance of your ball traveled by the amount of time it took to get there. If I hit the volleyball from the 2-foot line and the ball takes 0.5 seconds to get across the net, to find velocity, you would divide 2 feet by 0.5 seconds, which would be 4. Newton's second law states that the acceleration of an object is directly proportional to the net external force acting on the object and inversely proportional to the mass of the object. Mass multiplied by the acceleration equals net external force. A spiked volleyball creates a net external force that stings your hand when you stop it. The harder you hit, the harder the external force. Newton's third law states that to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. When two objects interact, they exert a force on each other. The action force of a spiked ball meets the reaction force of a player's block. Displacement is a vector quantity that refers to how far out of place an object is. It is an object's overall change in position. Hitters move on the court to adjust the play of the ball. The distance they move is considered their displacement. Momentum can be defined as the mass in motion. When hitting the ball, transferring the maximum amount of momentum from the body to the ball is what you are supposed to do. Momentum is equal to the force exerted on the ball multiplied by the time in which the force is exerted. The shorter amount of time the hand is on contact with the ball, the greater force is applied to the ball. Air pressure is the push the air has against all surfaces that it touches. Air is matter. It has mass, weight, and volume, which takes up space. A volleyball is a sphere and bouncing due to air pressure. Newton's first law says an object that rests will remain at rest unless acted on by an unbalanced force. When a ball is falling, it will continue to fall until it hits the ground. Friction is resistance of motion when one object rubs against another. When a volleyball hits into a net after making a mistake, the plowing effect takes place, and man's force slows everything down. And that is the physics of hitting a volleyball.